Ang kaya i-post na ko na.
2 years
Yorong
after
na
na
dito.
nag-effect yung
Dito
ating
ka. Yorong siya.
Ayun na.
renewal.
Kaya i-post na ko ni.
And again, Madam Chair, I will leave it at that. Please continue.
Yes.
Galit na galit na si Bato.
Just a manifestation on that point, and of course, our friend, the DOJ Secretary, can rebut or
Kanang
or-
kuwan,
magandang
gisahan
hapon
ba?
po sa inyong lahat. Justice Oscuna, thank you very much po for giving us time and being here today. At actually, isang main contention siguro yung residual power sa case sa Supreme Court, and as the Justice Secretary said, it's sub judice, and of course, everyone will be waiting for the decision of the Supreme Court. Ang point ko lang kasi, both sides, the pro-Duterte, anti-Duterte, want accountability. The pro-Duterte feels that the accountability is the drug lords, etc. And if President Duterte did something that amounts to a crime, pero ang accountability dapat dito sa Pilipinas at tamang proseso. So doon naman sa gustong i-hold anti-Duterte, gusto siyang i-hold accountable,
Tayo mga babae.
siguro naman it's safe to assume that they also want yung tamang proseso. So the thing is, there was an actual Supreme Court case, the Pangilinan versus Cayetano, questioning, I think the Secretary of Foreign Affairs noon, kaya named, questioning nga yung kung kailangan ng Senate concurrence yung withdrawal ng natin from the Rome Statute, no, from yung ICC. Pero nakalagay din dun sa case na yon, let me paraphrase, that the Supreme Court can continue to review yung actions ng executive. So my problem with yung interpretation dun sa residual powers, kasi nga, di ba, sa 5 judge sa ICC, yung 2 nagsabing, wala kaming jurisdiction. Kasi nung sinimulan namin yan, tapos na dun sa residual na 1 year. But 3 justices said na pwede. So my problem kasi is walang World Supreme Court eh. So there's only the ICC Court and the Appellate Court. Unlike kung dito natin final sa judiciary natin, then yung interpretation whether they still have jurisdiction or not would have been done under Philippine law. And President Duterte would have been able to present his case not only as to jurisdiction but as to whether or not there is probable cause. So I'll stop there, Madam Chair. And I think this is a point of disagreement, but I just like to manifest that, no, that we can argue back and forth whether or not may jurisdiction ng ICC, and the reality is nandun na si President Duterte. But for future cases, whether it's Senator Bato or others named, I gave 2 examples, no? If suddenly there's a witness from Marawi and they said that our troops killed children and women, and then nag-issue ng arrest ang ICC, or if the military suddenly uncovers a mass grave in any part of the country and says na nilibing yan during 2011 to 2015, I want to know whether the ICC can issue a warrant and then pwedeng idiretso na silang i-expel, i-deport, or whatever we call it. And I guess in the finality, Secretary, is that the Supreme Court will rule on that. No? But just to clarify matters, I want to put that on record. That's what I want, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Maraming salamat kay Senator Cayetano. Gusto ko lang ipaalala, and I think Executive Director Alcantara is here. In the diffusion notice, if we will recall, on the second page, apakaliwanag na nakalagay with a view to extradition. Walang binabanggit na surrender. With a view to extradition and assurances given that extradition will be sought. 2 beses inulit ng Interpol to. Extradition is explicit. Secretary Remulla, kung obligasyon natin, extradition, pati yung Interpol yan ang sabi.
Sila ho ang magka-file ng extradition, hindi po tayo. Hindi ho namin option yun. Yung po option po nila yun. Hindi namin option yun. Kasi ang option lang po namin, surrender lang. At sasagutin natin ang extradition kung sila po ay mag-file. Under the law po.
Liwanagin natin, ang surrender option kapag foreign national. Ang liwaliwanag po niya nandito sa ating batas at hindi rin kayo nag-intay ng request for extradition. Even though only 12 to 15 hours as measured by
Wala pong particular reference yung 9851 sa foreigner. Ito po sa offender lang po, sa accused. Yun po ang reference ng 9851.
Makikita natin, kasi kinalkal na natin dito sa Senado, nanggaling rin sa Senado yan, na ang nakasaad sa Article 17, yung dulo, RA 9851, talagang maliwanag na surrender para sa foreign national. Ilang beses na rin pinaliwanag ni Attorney Medina yan sa first and second hearing na maliwanag na para sa foreign national yan. Kaya mukhang malabo ito.
Sa interpretation po yun, hindi ho sa batas yun.
Nasa transcript ko, ang liwaliwanag, may amendment si Senator Subiri at the time, nakalista lahat ng bill spending, pare-pareho po ang referral sa foreign lang, hindi po pwede sa Pilipino. Hindi bale, tulad nga na sinabi ni Senator Cayetano, we agree to disagree, hindi po pwede para sa amin, maliwanag. And I'd like to call on Justice Ascuna at this juncture. Reference has been made to RA 9851, yung Article 17 nga na sinasabi, na sa ngayon, hindi na yung Rome Statute kasi post-2019 na tayo, no? So, ang huling kataga, pursuant to the applicable extradition laws and treaties. It's very clear, it's the last sentence of Article 17. And in an interview, the former Supreme Court Justice Adolfo Ascuna opined that surrender must be made pursuant to an applicable treaty. And since the Philippines is no longer a party to the Rome Statute, what then is the applicable treaty? Wala nang treaty. Dahil ang ini-invoke na yung Rome Statute ay wala na ngayon. Siguro si Justice Ascuna mas mahusay ng paliwanag.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Regarding the applicable provisions, the justification given by government for the surrender of former President Rodrigo Duterte to the ICC consists of two grounds. One is the warrant of arrest issued by the ICC and served through the protocol of the Interpol. The other is Section 17 of Republic Act 9851, which is the Philippine IHL law, and which provides that if a person is already being investigated for the crimes covered by this act, which includes crimes against
Dapat ilapit ang microphone.
for which President Duterte is being charged, is already being investigated by an international tribunal. The relevant Philippine authorities may surrender such person to the international tribunal, but it adds pursuant to the applicable extradition laws and treaties. Ngayon, ang tanong, ito bang last sentence na ito, which provides for the requirement that the surrender should be pursuant to applicable treaties, is still applicable since we don't have anymore the Rome Statute. Sa palagay ko po ay it's either we have the Rome Statute or not. If we don't have a treaty, then we cannot surrender the suspect to the ICC under this section, because this section requires that the surrender be pursuant to a treaty. Pursuant means in accordance with. And so if there is no treaty, in my view, we cannot make a surrender. On the other hand, if there is still a treaty that is due to the residual obligations that the Philippines may have even after withdrawal, pursuant to Article 127, Paragraph 2, the Rome Statute, after withdrawal, the withdrawing state still obliged to cooperate with the ICC in relation to matters already under consideration by the court prior to withdrawal. So it again you go back to the question, is the Philippine situation something already under consideration by the court, by the ICC, prior to our withdrawal? In my view, Madam Chair, the answer is yes, because as of February 8, 2018, prior to our withdrawal, Fatou Bensouda, the former ICC prosecutor, already said that the Philippine situation is under preliminary examination as of that day. Question is whether or not the prosecutor is the court, because 127 paragraph 2 says under consideration by the court. And in my view, it is, because there are four principal organs of the ICC. The first is the presidencies. There's one president and two vice presidents. The second are the judicial divisions. The third is the office of the prosecutor. And the fourth is the registrar. So the office of the prosecutor is part of the court. Therefore, when Article 127, paragraph 2 says, matter must be under consideration by the court at the time before withdrawal, it includes consideration by the prosecutor. And so therefore, I believe we have residual obligations even after withdrawal. Question therefore is whether or not the warrant for arrest issued by the ICC after our withdrawal is something we have to cooperate with under 127 paragraph 2. In my view, yes. And therefore, in my view, the warrant of arrest is legal. However, I believe that the surrender is not, because the surrender must be pursuant to a treaty, and therefore our own law, Section 17 of Republic Act 9851, brought back the Statute of Rome, even after withdrawal, because it requires that a surrender must be pursuant to the applicable treaty. And therefore, in this case, the applicable treaty remains the Statute of Rome. And thus, we have to follow Article 59 of the Statute of Rome, which requires that the custodial state, namely the Philippines, must first bring the arrested person to a local court to determine two things: whether or not the person is really the one named in the warrant. Second, whether or not the person has been informed of the charges against him or her. This was not done. Therefore, there was, in my view, a violation in the act of surrender. However, Madam Chair, this is in the forum of the Philippines, but in the forum of the ICC, different rules apply. The rule in international law, Madam Chair, is that procedural laws are governed by the forum. So procedural safeguards are applicable only to the forum. The Philippine Bill of Rights, for instance, which says that no person however, criminal proceedings before the ICC is governed by their own procedure. This is in accordance with private international law, that procedures governed by Lex Fori, the law of the forum. And therefore, we go to the procedure in the ICC. In the ICC, I believe they follow what is called mali coptus bene detentus, meaning that even if the arrest is illegal, the detention can be legal. It does not automatically mean that if the arrest was illegal, the person arrested must be released. They will balance, it's a balancing act. You will balance the illegality of the arrest with the need to prosecute someone for very serious offenses under international law. And in their view, the balance weighs in favor of prosecution. They will prosecute, notwithstanding the violation of the procedure in the arrest and in the surrender, I mean. Therefore, it depends on whether you're talking about Philippine Forum or the ICC. The ICC, I believe, will follow their own procedure. Whereas in the Philippines, as it is now pending in the Philippine Supreme Court, in my view, there is a violation and there will be consequences for that violation. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Justice Ascuna. As usual, we received a very exhaustive opinion, and I'm certain that we will be guided by the same. I think Senator Cayetano would like to respond.
May I take advantage of the knowledge, wisdom, experience of Justice Ascuna, not only as a former Supreme Court justice, a recognized legal luminary, but as a member of the Constitutional Commission. Sir, can I take a step back? When the Constitutional Commission discussed the Bill of Rights, and in Section 2, the rights of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, effects, against unreasonable searches and seizures of whatever nature and for any purpose shall be inviolable, and no search warrant or warrant arrest shall issue except upon 1. Probable cause, 2. Be determined personally by the judge after examination under oath of affirmation of the complainant and the witnesses he may produce, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the person or things to be seized. Am I correct, sir, that this was also a reaction to a period in the martial law where there were different kinds of warrant of arrest? Diba yung, I don't know the name of all of them, but ASO, so there were arrest warrants from many sources, including the military. So the commission, in its actions as representing the Filipino people, so fit. At least ito po yung tinuro sa amin sa Ateneo Law, that ang pinagkukutan nito, to be sure that if someone is arrested and it's not on a whim, it's not politicizing whatever, we will make sure by 1, judge lang ang pwede sa Pilipinas ang mag-issue ng warrant. Of course, the Supreme Court has already said may exception like the Bureau of Immigration just for the foreigners. But in general po, it has to be a judge. He can only issue it upon personally determining that there is probable cause after examination under oath of the complainant. Am I generally correct, Mr. Justice?
That is correct, Mr. Senator.
So that is why in our 14 treaties for extradition with other countries, pare-pareho yung procedure that after the DFA receives the request for extradition, pupunta muna to sa isa nating judge. Para yung judge pa rin ang titingin. Am I correct? Am I wrong? SOJ, tama, no? So that the judge can double check, and then he will be the one to either confirm or verify or issue the warrant of arrest. Then yun ang isa-serve ng local police. That's my understanding.
That is correct, Mr. Senator. The need for a judge to be the one issuing the order in cases of
Yun na yan.
warrant of arrest, even search warrant,
Kampi na ni.
is enshrined in our Constitution because there were previous occasions prior to our adoption of our Constitution where instead of a judge, it just is an authorized officer. So it has to be a judge. In the case, however, of the ICC, the warrant for arrest was also issued by a judge. In fact, 3 judges issued the warrant of arrest under the ICC. Question is whether or not that warrant of arrest can be executed in the Philippines by Philippine authorities. And that is, I think, pending the Supreme Court now. There are pros and cons on that, but one issue there is whether or not the 3 judges, the pre-trial chamber of the ICC, acted on probable cause or merely on sufficiency of evidence.
Yes.
But as I said, the provision on probable cause and the judges issuing the warrant are procedural safeguards that are good only for the forum and not applicable abroad. That is the limitation. Our constitution does not extend beyond our territory. Thank you.
Point I was going to, sir, is really the legal remedy of a Filipino citizen to run to our judiciary, which I asked Attorney Alexis Medina and go to him later. But my point, I think you already read my mind, Mr. Justice, and because you were saying we are not sure whether the judges or justices of the ICC went into probable cause or sufficiency, because we are also not sure if they issued the warrant based on a personal determination of the witnesses or complainants under oath. We do not know whether these are media reports or whether their prosecutors came here and interviewed them, no? So ang point ko, Mr. Justice, if I was being arrested and I'm not sure, I should be able to go to Philippine court. Sa extradition treaty, sir, judge din naman judge ng US, judge ng UK ang nag-i-issue nito, no? And I checked with the ICC versus the other countries that signed with them. For example, the United Kingdom, no? It is the appropriate judicial officer who will issue the warrant of arrest of the UK. So from ICC, ito double check pa rin ng ano. Ganun din po sa Canada. The Attorney General will apply ex parte for a provisional arrest before a judge. So it's not the fiscals, it's not the Prosecutor General. The Prosecutor General's job there is to bring it before a judge. Ganun din po sa South Korea, ganun din po sa Argentina, ganun din sa Paraguay at South Africa. That is why if we look at the information of surrender and transfer sa page 8 po, number 8, sorry, not page 8, number 8, nakalagay po dito the date, time, and location of the appearance of the arrested person before the competent National Judicial Authority. Ang sagot po dito na ang pumirma, if I'm not mistaken, si Ambassador Lacanilao, do not know. So he did not know when he surrendered the former president whether they were brought before a judicial entity. So yun po yung main issue ko, Justice, na ang pagkaintindi ko, kung meron pong
KCC Supermarket, pinakabarato.
time can run to a Philippine court. But in this case kasi, he was denied the opportunity to run before a Philippine court because he was put on a plane and sent there, no? So even assuming I agree with everything you said now and I see the legal basis naman nung sinasabi nyo, sa akin, that remains to be the question on my mind. Can we deny a Philippine citizen the opportunity to go before a Philippine court? According to General Torre, and he can rebut this later on, is that 8 or 12 hours is enough, diba? But I think mas malaking issue yun kung ang court nag-issue ng TRO within 8 or 12 hours unless the circumstance. I think at the time na the lawyers applied, hindi nga nila alam na isasakay sa aeroplano diba? But I really feel free to comment, Justice. Ang point ko lang po, I think the spirit and letter of the Constitution is clear. It has to be before a Philippine judge to determine this.
In fact, Mr. Senator, the procedure in the ICC calls for bringing the person to a Philippine court first before surrendering the person to the ICC. So if you do not follow that, it can be argued that there is what we call abuse of process, and an abuse of process can be raised in the ICC itself. I think this is what will be considered in the September hearing scheduled by the pre-trial chamber. Under the rules, objections to the legality or objections on abuse of process may be raised and resolved by the pre-trial chamber probably at the scheduled September hearing. So this remains still open, even in the ICC. Question of the validity of the surrender in view of the non-observance of Article 59 of the Statute of Rome itself. And the other thing is whether or not such abuse of process is curable. And again, that is debatable. It seems to me that the initial hearing on March 14 done by the pretrial chamber was an attempt to cure the deficiency of the absence of Article 59 procedure, because the three judges of the pretrial chamber in that hearing simply did what a local court would have done. That is, determine that the person is the same person named in the warrant of arrest, and that the person was informed of the charges against him or her. And after that, they said session adjourned. So they merely supplied the defect that the absence of the custodial state's local court created. So it remains whether or not male captus bene detentus will be applied by the ICC. Thank you.
Mr. Justice, yung dahilan kung bakit yun ang tanong ko, no, the reason for my questions is, I grew up dun sa naririnig mong sa presinto ka na lang magpaliwanag. And after the EDSA Revolution, eto sa bagong constitution, then the many laws we passed after addressed that eh. Hindi pwedeng bigla ka na lang hulihin tapos sa presinto ka na lang magpaliwanag. Unfortunately, parang yun ang lumabas, sa Hague ka na lang magpaliwanag, even if there are defects here. But I just like to express my admiration, the way you explain very fatherly, whether it's in class, it's in the Supreme Court oral arguments, or here. Thank you for your calming voice during these confusing times. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Huling hirit po, Justice, may binanggit kayo ng mga violations locally, and such violations would inevitably incur consequences. What possible violations are there to local law and our Constitution?
The possible violation, Madam Chair, consists in the surrender without passing through the court, what we call extrajudicial rendition. That issue will have to be resolved by the Supreme Court, whether or not an extrajudicial rendition is valid in the Philippines in view of our Constitution. And the other issue is whether or not there is a comma that separates international tribunal from another country. In other words, whether or not the colatilia, subject or pursuant to the applicable extradition laws and treaties, refers only to extradition and does not refer to rendition because of comma. I look at the text of Republic Act 9851, Madam Chair. Section 17 does not have a single comma. It has two commas. And the two commas are parenthetical commas. They are not separating commas. They are parenthetical because they merely enclose the words "if any." So it says that the Philippine authorities may surrender the suspect to the International Tribunal, comma, if any, comma, or to another country pursuant to the applicable laws, traditional laws and treaties. So the commas really refer only to if any. It is not meant to separate the provision that requires a treaty from surrender to an international court, in my view. So it's not a single comma. Dalawa pong comma yan. Ang function ng dalawang comma in grammar is like a parenthesis. If any, because the words if any. So to me, the violation is not doing the rendition pursuant to the applicable treaty. The applicable treaty is the Rome Statute. It is brought back into application by our own Section 17 if you do a rendition. So if you do a rendition, you have to follow the procedure for rendition in the Article 59 of the Statute of Rome.
Yes, thank you very much, Justice. And certainly, looking at the transcripts as well as the original bills filed, maliwanag po na talagang walang comma. So, ibig sabihin, pareho yung extradition tsaka surrender na kinakailangan may treaty o batas na pinagbasehan. Maliwanag po yun, kaya aabangan natin yung hatol ng ating Korte Suprema. Maraming salamat po. Thank you very much for that. And we'd like to go back to the SOJ. There's still a high level of confusion. Ano nga ba talaga? Ang sinasabi ng DOJ, RA 9851, sabi ng Pangulo, commitments to Interpol. Alin na nga ba talaga?
Ano yung pangalawa?
Sorry? Ang sinabi ng Pangulo, ang nangyari, dahil may commitment o obligasyon tayo sa Interpol. Ang sabi naman po ninyo, RA 9851. Alin ba talaga ang pinagbasehan ng ating diskusyon?
Pareho po.
Pareho.
Opo. Yung ating pong pagiging miyembro ng Interpol ay napakahalaga at yung 9851 po yung talagang batas na sumasaklaw sa ganitong sitwasyon.
Pero kung sinabi mo RA 9851, kahit walang diffusion order galing sa Interpol, ang gobyerno pwedeng arestuhin si PRRD, i-turn over sa ICC. Yung ba yung stand ninyo? Kasi nung nakaraang hearing, yun ang sinasabi po ninyo na 9851 to.
Opo, kasi meron pong diffusion order na kasama. Kasi
Hindi, kahit walang
magkatali po sila,
Hindi,
ma'am.
kapag
Madam Chair.
9851, kahit walang diffusion order, pwede naman arestuhin, di ba?
Meron pong warrant of arrest. Pwede ho.
Let us assume that the surrender of PRRD to The Hague by the administration can be done without a warrant from a Philippine court. I-assume muna natin yan. Before the administration can surrender him to the ICC, they actually have to arrest him first. So, itatanong ko, sino nag-aresto talaga kay Presidente Duterte?
Ano po, ang authorities po natin ang umaresto in pursuant to the diffusion order and the warrant of arrest issued by the ICC.
So, balik na naman tayo
As given to the Interpol, the PCTC.
Balik na naman tayo sa diffusion order. Wala na naman si RA 9851. Nakakalito po papalit-palit po tayo.
Ano ho yan magkatali po sila, hindi ho pwedeng paghiwalay yung dalawa.
Hindi ko hinihiwalay. Tinatanong ko lang kung alin ba talaga. Kasi magulo yan. Ang dami-dami ninyong pinagbabasehan.
Kaya nga dito ho kasi hindi tayo matatapos sa pag-uusap dito sapagkat ang talagang pwede hong magsabi sa atin ng tama ay ang Korte Suprema. At kaya nga,
Hindi,
kahit na ayaw po natin sabihin, pero ito po talaga ang pinag-uusapan dito po sa mga petisyon na final ng pamilya ni former President Duterte sa Korte Suprema.
Hindi, simple lang tanong ko yung proseso, no? So, siguro tanongin natin sa PCTC, who ordered the arrest and ordered the PNP to mobilize? Nung natanggap ninyo, hindi, gusto lang namin maintindihan step by step, hindi masyadong maliwanag sa amin.
Madam Chair, ulitin ko po yung aking nasabi nung nakaraan. Ang diffusion po ay dumating ng alas 3 ng umaga. It arrived at 3 a.m. in the morning. So I disseminated the diffusion to our concerned law enforcement agencies. And so,
Sino doon? Sino doon ang
ating pong mga
sinabi?
kasama sa law enforcement agencies ay ang
So,
Philippine
from the
National
PCTC,
Police.
saan po pumunta?
Philippine National Police po.
Sino sa PNP?
Ang binigyan ko po ng notice ay ang Chief of Philippine National Police.
Okay, si General Marvin.
Ang ating pong National Bureau of Investigation, ang NBI po. Ang ating pong Bureau of Immigration,
Okay.
si Commissioner
So,
Diado.
DOJ yan. Opo.
Ang ating pong Department of Justice, sinabihan ko rin po.
Okay.
So,
So, lahat yan?
yun po ang trabaho ng National Central Bureau Manila. May dumating po tayong diffusion or red notice or red diffusion. Kaya kailangan pong i-pan out ko po sa ating mga law enforcement agencies. Mandate ko po yun, trabaho ko po.
Tama. Maraming salamat, Executive Director. Tinatanong lang natin kasi yung arrest was effected without a warrant issued by the Philippine Court, di ba? So, ang sinasabi ba natin yung aresto ay dahil sa administrative arrest? Kasi, yun nga, sa extradition, there's a warrant issued by a foreign court and there's still a need to go to the local court. So, surrender under 9851, does it authorize an administrative arrest? Ang narinig lang natin, babalik talaga sa korteng lokal. Paano ba yun? Ano ba ang nangyari?
Ano ho yan eh?
Di ba arrest
Kasi
yan?
ito po kasi, is a case of first impression. Ngayon lang po nasubukan o lumabas yung kahalagahan ng provision ng Section 17 ng 1951. Wala ho tayong record dito na kung anong tama dati, anong tama ngayon, anong tama bukas. Ito po ay sumasangga lang sa paningin po ng nagpapatupad ng batas. At sa aming pong paningin ay sinabi po sa batas, Section 17, pero maaari kong
Kanya-kanyang
basahin.
paningin, kanya-kanyang
Oho,
interpretasyon.
kasi iba ho ang
Pwede ba
interpretasyon
naman yun?
Hindi, ang Senado po, iba ang interpretasyon sa ng chairman, ng chairperson. Ang DOJ po,
Yes, si
iba ang
Senator
interpretasyon.
Cayetano
Ang iba rin po, ang interpretasyon ni Justice Ascuna. At kaya nga ho, matatapos na ho ito pag nagsalita na po ang Korte Suprema. Hindi na ho talaga, wala ho mananalo sa atin dito sa argumento. Kasi Korte Suprema lang po.
Hindi,
Pwede
nagpapaliwanag lang
magsabi.
tayo. Inaalam ko
Opo.
lang. Kung
Kasi ano ito, case of first impression eh. Ma'am, Madam Chair, this is a case of first impression.
Pero
Ah.
naiiba ang administrative arrest at saka yung tinatawag na judicial, di ba? With an ICC warrant and then sa extradition case, there's also a warrant issued by a foreign court, pero pinipilit pa rin na local court pa rin ang mag-enforce. Kaya hindi ko masyado naintindihan dahil pati yung Yusek Castro sabi, ang bayan daw, hindi daw tatanggapin si PRRD kahit palayain ng ICC. So, why would the Philippines recognize an ICC warrant if it doesn't recognize ICC jurisdiction?
Ano ho yan eh?
Talaga yan?
Warrant over the individual po yan, hindi naman sa estado natin eh. It's a warrant issued against an individual, not against our state, not against the Philippine government.
Wala naman nagsasabi na talagang against the state. Ang sinasabi ko lang, ang higpit din. Miski ng administrative arrest, alam natin yan. May bagong kaso, 2023, binanggit na Attorney Medina, Lilian na kaso sa immigration. Ang liwaliwanag, 8 ang guidelines. So, mabigat-bigat yan. Hindi naman na isatupad kasi babalik nga sa korteng lokal. So, nagtataka ako kung ano nga bang klaseng arresto to.
Ang masasabi ko dito talaga, kasi nga, ito nga yung saklaw ng pinag-uusapan sa Korte Suprema. Kaya sa akin po, mas gustuin kong intayin ang magiging hatol ng Korte Suprema sa issue. Hindi ho natin kahit magdamag po tayo dito, hindi ho magbabago ang paningin nyo at hindi ho magbabago ang paningin ko.
Andito rin yung
Madam Chair,
guest sa Senator Batobi.
I just would like to remind the Secretary of Justice that we are not here to determine kung sino tama, kayo ang tama o kaya tama. We are here para malaman yung katotohanan. Because somewhere along the way, alam namin may nagsisinungaling. Kaya gusto namin malaman kung anong tama. Hindi po kami nagsasabi na tama kami. Tama si Justice Ascuna, tama po kayo. Yung katotohanan lang po ang ating kinukuha dito. So, Madam Chair, yung very clear man dito sa diffusion coming from ICC, sinabi dito, action to be taken, locate and arrest with a view to extradition. Assurances are given that extradition will be sought upon arrest of the person in conformity with national laws and or applicable bilateral and multilateral treaties. Kaya tanong ko sana si Ms. OJ o yung PNP, bakit sabi ni Ms. OJ kanina na extradition daw cannot be initiated by us, it should be initiated by the requesting party, either ICC or Interpol. Am I correct, sir? Sila
Tama po. Dapat ho, ICC. ICC po dapat.
Okay. So bakit?
Yun po yung sa extradition. Pero surrender po sa atin po yun.
Kaya nga, bakit? Wala mo sinabi dito surrender. Extradition lang. Kaya nga, bakit hindi natin hinintay? Yeah, with a view to extradition, bakit hindi natin hinintay yung ICC na mag-initiate ng extradition laban kay Pangulong Duterte. Bakit binyahin na kagad natin doon sa Interpol? Wala mo sinabi dito na kailangan natin i-surrender.
Ang extradition po na nasasabi po sa Section 17 ay meron pong treaty sa extradition, sa extraditing state. Kung ano halimbawa, ang ICC tsaka Pilipinas, kung tayo po member ng ICC, kailangan po ng judicial proceedings. Hindi na po tayo member ng ICC eh. Kasi kung member po tayo ng ICC, nakakatulong sana kay President Duterte na hindi po siya ililipad. Siya po yung mismo nag-atras ng ating membership eh.
Kaya nga
Kasi yung po yung malinaw na malinaw po,
ako,
na may treaty po na kinakailangan para ho magkaroon ng extradition. Wala pong treaty eh. Kasi nga, nag-withdraw na tayo sa ICC. Kasi di ba ang treaty yung dati, sapagkat ang Senado po nag-concur. Nag-concur po sila sa treaty. But unilaterally, it was withdrawn by the President. Kaya po,
pero sir,
nangyari dyan,
pero sir, ito, very clear mo ito, sir. Ako hindi ako abogado, ikaw abogado ka, pero ako, I just don't want to be emotional about everything. Gusto ko lang talagang para malaman natin itong totoo dito. Ito, very clear na hindi naman hinihingi ang surrender. Ang hinihingi lang is extradition with a view to extradition.
yun nga ho,
Sana
extradition will fail, sir. Extradition will fail because wala ho ano eh. Kung ako tatanungin nyo ngayon, kasi nga wala nga tayong treaty.
So kung will fail, bakit pa natin sinurrender si Pangulong
Tsaka
Duterte?
ano, yung extradition po nakalagay sa batas, state party po ang isa pong tinitingnan natin. Bansa po ang sinasabi sa Section 17. Ano ho, kung yung
Sir,
ako mga...
Sir, nanggagaling ito sa ICC, itong papel na ito.
Pero yung sa Section 17 nga, yung ating batas nga, sinasabi nga, dahil sa mga comma na yan, ay ang mahalaga, state party po ang mag-a-apply ng extradition. Wala ho tayong treaty sa state party o sa ICC kasi nga, inatras po ng
So bakit pa natin sinurrender? Bakit pa natin
kasi yung po sinasabi ng batas eh, may surrender. May po sinasabi. Opo. Ayun, that's what the law says. The law may be harsh, but it is the law.
Ay, nako.
Very clear man ito, sir, extradition lang ang
Yun lang
pinagkuhan.
naman, at
Bakit tayo pinilit na i-surrender?
Hindi man lang
Extradition lang
nalintay,
hinihiling ng
request.
ICC.
Kung di ho tayo umatras sa ICC, kung di ho inatras ni
Gago.
President Duterte yung ating membership sa ICC, talagang extradition po lang.
Kung sobrang umatras na tayo sa ICC, bakit pa kailangan?
Nawala ho yung treaty.
Kailangan pa natin i-surrender.
Nawala ho yung agreement natin, sir.
O sir, kaya nga sir, bakit pa natin sinurrender? Kasi wala naman tayo. To start with, wala tayong room statute na
Yung po yung
option
option.
dahil wala na tayong hindi na tayo membro. Bakit pa natin sinurrender?
Mr.
What's the
Senator,
purpose?
Mr. Senator, yun po yung option na binibigay ng batas sa authorities, sa amin po, sa amin pong departamento at sa ating po executive department. Malinaw po yun. Ang surrender po ay isang option na pwedeng gawin.
Palusot ng
Pero
animal
hindi
na to.
yun ang hiningi ng Interpol. Maliwanag yun, hindi po ba?
Hindi kasi
Dahil
hindi
nandyan sa binabasa natin, doon sa diffusion order, with a view to extradition, di ba? At yun lang. Hindi pa nga dumating yung request, wala pa rin yung assurance that extradition will be sought.
Hindi nga ho
All
maaari
that
ano eh.
was indicated was with a view to extradition.
Hindi mo nga aandar ang extradition sapagkat hindi nga tayo,
Pinuntahan na ninyo
wala na
lahat
tayong
ng
treaty
mga-
with ICC eh. Nawala na nga yung ating membership. Kaya wala na ho extradition na route. Ang nangyari po, surrender route na lang po ang naiwan.
Madam Chair,
Kung hindi ho nag-withdraw si President Duterte, wala ho tayong naging problema.
o kung wala na tayong treaty, locate and arrest with a view to extradition. Hindi mo magawa ang extradition dahil wala na tayong treaty, di ba? So hanggang arrest lang tayo. Bakit mo binahe? Pwede mo namang isurrender dito sa local courts natin. Ipakulong mo dito sa Pasay. Bakit mo ba sinurrender?
Yun po yung ano eh, yun ang best judgment namin. Yun po ang tingin namin na mabuti po
Gago.
sa ating bansa. Yun po
Mabuti.
yung aming paningin ang pinakamabuting gawin under the circumstances for our country. Yun po ang aming tingin, ang tama namin ginawa.
Para nakakabigla naman dahil sinasabi ninyo, wala na nga tayong ICC, di wala tayong obligasyon.
Hindi, pero yung ano,
Pinagdaan na lang ninyo.
ma'am, yung extradition kasi, pumapasok yan Dahil membro tayo ng ICC. Dahil nawala tayo sa ICC, wala na tayong option sa extradition. Kasi tayo mismo nag-withdraw eh. Nawala tayo,
Kaya
Mm,
sumugal
right.
tayo sa surrender.
Kaya yun talaga yun ang naging
Pero,
best judgment namin.
ang sugal na yon, hindi nagsasaad na may obligasyon ng Pilipinas. Walang obligasyon talaga.
Hindi, ano to eh. Ang obligasyon ito to the rest of humanity.
Eh wala na nga
Yun nga ho yun.
extradition.
Kasi palusot ang
pinusunod po
ano.
natin, yung ating international humanitarian law na 9851, that is contained in Republic Act 9851, Section 17 pa rin po. Babalik po tayo rin muli.
Okay, punta naman tayo ulit sa
Madam Chair.
PCPC kung papayag ng mga senador.
Just on that point, yeah, let me start by agreeing with the Secretary of Justice na magdamag tayo dito,
Oo naman.
hindi mag-agree. But I want to make one point lang on that, and if we can agree on something. Wala po tayong duda that human rights are essential. Whether you think of from a spiritual point of view, we were made in God's image, DNA ng Panginoon, or whether you look at it from a humanistic point of view, na human rights, no, is essential. Okay, klaro yon. Having said that, klaro din na napupolitika at nawe-weaponize ang human rights. So when I was DFA Secretary, kaharap ko po mga ibang European Parliament, maganda usapan namin, pero pinipilit sa atin na abortion is a human right. Eh iba po yun sa ating konstitusyon, na from conception, we believe it's a human right, yung life ng bata. So my point, Secretary, ang urgency kasi dito, nagsasalita kasi yung ICC na may mga isu.
Welcome sa One Amazing World! Dito, okay na micro loans para sa inyo. OFW, loan up to 500k. Bagong motor, kumalagkata na. Si One Amazing Dream Business, magtutuloy micro loans. Dito na, para si One Amazing ang life.
Still get accountability, as the good justice said. Kung may abuse of process, may mananagot dito. Pero na-deny na yung liberty nila doon. Di ba may kasabihan tayo sa law school na di bale ng, actually I forgot who quoted it from who, but di bale ng 100 na guilty makalaya, wag lang yung isang inosente ay maparusahan. So have we thought about that? So if the ICC issues, will we wait for the Supreme Court to rule, or will we allow them to be sent, put on a plane and sent them to Hague already?
That was the option that we had considered in the executive department. And we believe that we acted in the best judgment in surrendering him to ICC.
I meant Secretary after. So now that there's a pending before the Supreme Court, kung biglang mag-issue for 5 more Filipinos, sino man sila, will we allow those Filipinos to, if they're detained here in the Philippines, then go to the Supreme Court, or will we put them on a plane and send them to Hague? Considering that the Supreme Court is now looking into this legal issue.
Yun nga ho eh, kasi nga kaya hindi ko lang kasi iniiwasan po namin sabihin yung sub judice eh. Kasi nga, napakahalaga po ng maging
Palusot
judgment
ng gago na to.
Kasi ang alam ko po dyan, pag sa ganitong sitwasyon, case of first impression, baka sakali magbigay sila ng guidelines kung ano po ang dapat gawin ng executive department. Pero ito po, it is a best judgment that this is the best thing to do. Kaya ginawa po namin.
I'm talking about, Secretary, after President Duterte. I don't know if you can answer it by yourself or it's the cabinet as a whole, but I would honestly ask you to look at it, I mean sincerely ask you to look at it, and kung pwede, kung mag-issue ulit yung ICC, allow them to go to court before we send them. So I'm talking about after Duterte. Kasi even in your statements naman before this, you have an option, di ba? So I'm just saying, safer option yung before Philippine courts kasi pag nandun na, wala nang rewind eh. Di ba? So let's say you have 3 generals, ex-generals, etc. sent na there. Wala na silang remedy dito eh. So yun lang ang point ko, yung after President Duterte. Before this, of course, if the Supreme Court decides on point, then may guidance na tayong lahat. But while it's pending, it might be safer to allow the Filipinos to seek redress here.
mahirap pong mag-commit. Ayoko pong magsinungaling. Mahirap pong
Yes, I
mag-commit.
understand.
Pero
Please
ang
consider
mahalaga
that.
po, sabi ko nga, kaya nga ayoko sana magsalita tungkol dito. Yung last hearing po, iniiwasan po namin na magsalita. Kasi napakahalaga po ng gagawin ng Supreme Court dito. Sana po igalang din natin yung kanilang estado ngayon na kailangan po nilang desisyonan itong kaso.
Kasi ang dinidiin lang natin, tulad ng sinabi mo ng umpisa, na nangingibabol sa lahat ng ating saligang batas. Kahit ano pang mga batas yan, kung ano man tratado yan, mangingibabaw lahat ng Bill of Rights, ng karapatang pantao, mangingibabaw sa lahat. Kaya nagugulantalan kami na meron naman palang options eh. Bakit pinili yung nabag sa batas? Yun ang pinagtatakahan namin. Pabalik muna tayo sa PCTC at kung maaari, I'd like to be clarified on the role of the Special Envoy on Transnational Crime, currently occupied by Ambassador, apparently previously ASEC, tama ba yun? Marcos Lacanilao. Is he present?
Yes, I'm present.
And what's your proper title?
Ambassador, ma'am.
ASEC?
No, ma'am. Before I was ASEC of Office of Civil Defense. Pero na-transfer ho ako sa Special Envoy last year. So I hold the rank, ma'am, of Ambassador.
Ganun pala. So, dati nakita ko sa Facebook, nagpapasalamat ka kay Senator Bongo tungkol sa flood control. Tama ba yun? Dahil sa civil defense. So, Senator Bongo nandyan. Kilala po ninyo to? Si Senator Bongo may statement yata. Naririnig ba ninyo ako? Ayan, Bong.
Madam Chair.
Yes, please. Oo. Si Ambassador Lacanilao sa dating Office of Civil Defense, ASEC ka doon. At wala, nakita ko lang yung Facebook post tungkol sa flood control. So, inaasahan ko kilala po ninyo si Mr. Lacanilao.
I'm not so familiar about him. Anyway,
Okay.
nakikita ko po dyan.
Okay. Thanks. You
Baka
wanted
po
to make a
nagtrabaho
statement, Senator?
Nagtrabaho po noon. Baka po nagtrabaho siya noon sa former administration ni Pangulong Duterte.
Okay, Senator
Anyway, good
Bong,
day,
you
Madam
wanted to
Chair.
make a statement? Sorry.
Yes.
Okay.
Meron po akong opening statement. Good day, Madam Chair, distinguished colleagues, and to the resource persons present in this hearing. Mabuti naman po at nakadalo ang iilang opisyal po ng gobyerno para mabigyang linaw ang mga kaganapan sa pag-aresto at pag-surrender kay dating Pangulo Rodrigo Duterte. Pero kulang pa rin po, marami pong wala. Madam Chair, marami po tayong katanungan noong nakaraang hearing na hindi nasagot dahil wala po yung mga government officials na maaaring makasagot sana sa ating mga katanungan. There are several instances that the government has repeatedly stated that the International Criminal Court has no jurisdiction in our country. Kung hindi po kinikilala ng gobyerno ang ICC, bakit nila binigyan ng pansin ang arrest warrant mula sa ICC? Yun po ang mga katanungan natin. Ginamit lang bang palusot ang Interpol? May violation ba sa Rome Statute? But we have also found out, Madam Chair, that there was no red notice from the Interpol. Kaya nakapagtaka talaga kung bakit nagmamadali ang gobyerno na isuko si dating Pangulong Duterte sa ICC. Isn't this a glaring violation of due process? Sobrang minadali. Ano po ang naging batayan ng inyong pagkilos at bakit may pagmamadali sa pagpapatupad ng pag-aresto? Ibinigay ninyo po si Tatay Digong sa loob lamang po ng 14 oras. Mas mabilis pa sa alas 4. Madam Chair, isa rin sa gusto nating malaman ay kung ilan nga ba ang may diffusion notice, red notice at arrest warrant mula sa Interpol dito sa ating bansa at ilan na po ba ang naaresto ng mga otoridad. Based sa website ng Interpol, 11 Pilipino ang may red notice mula sa Interpol. Lahat ba ito nasa Pilipinas? Lahat na ba ito ay nahuhuli na o hindi pa? Kung ito ay may red notice mula sa Interpol, misto lang hindi pinansin ng mga otoridad, bakit ngayon mabilis pa sa alas 4 bigla kayong umaksyon? Sa totoo lamang po, marami pang may mga warrant, marami pang may arrest warrant na hindi ninyo naaresto hanggang ngayon. Pero pagdating kay dating Pangulong Duterte, walang isang araw ang bilis ninyong inaresto. Ang tanong ngayon, may ibabalik pa ba si
Dahil
Tatay Digong
politika.
o sadya ninyo talaga siyang inilayo dito sa ating bansa? Bakit po? Para sa akin, hindi natin kailangan maging abogado. Let's call a spade. Dahil obvious naman, gusto talaga nilang isurrender sa ICC si Tatay Digong. Kaya sabi ko dati, kahit mag-hearing tayo dito araw-araw, ang importante po ay mapauwi si Tatay Digong, bring him home. Dito sa sarili nating bansa, dapat harapin kung ano man ang inaakusa sa kanya. Unfortunately, Madam Chair, gusto ko talagang mag-participate araw-araw. Sama tayo dyan sa hearing. Pero hindi ko po kaya humarap sa ilang tao sa pagdinig na ito na hindi marunong rumispeto. Mga ilang taong tatakbuhan ka, hindi nagsasabi ng totoo, at hindi man lang kayang rumispeto sa isang kasamaan ninyo sa gobyerno. Mahirap na, baka mamaya talikuran at buwan na naman ako. Respeto po ang importante dito sa isa't isa. Respeto sa Pilipino. Sa mga pulis naman po, unahin niyo muna resolbahin ang problema sa kidnapping ngayon. Pero inuna niyo pang inaresto. At inuna niyo pa ang pag-aresto o pag-kidnap kay Tatay Digong.
Yan ho, gawin dapat barilin sa ulo.
O naman po, nung nakaraang March 11, gusto kong pumasok, pinababa tayo sa sasakyan, sa gate. At kahit si VP Sara, hindi rin po pinapasok isang abogado at anak pa ng dating Pangulo. Ngayon, maayos naman kayong tinanggap sa Senado. Sana marunong rin po kayong magbigay ng kortesiya. Lalo na gusto lang natin masiguro na ligtas at nasa maayos na kalagayan si Tatay Digong, lalong-lalo na po ang kanyang kalusugan. Nakakalungkot lamang po, matanda na si Tatay Digong. Alam ko naman na matapang at matatag siya. Pero kitang-kita naman natin sa kanyang iniinda. Harmless at fragile na po si Tatay Digong. Hindi na siya dapat ipinilit, ilayo at dinala sa ibang bansa. Hindi na po siya tatakbo sa inyo. Hirap na nga siya maglipad. Maski pagtali ng kanyang sintas at medyas, hirap na po siya. Lahat naman po tayo tumatanda. Lahat po tayo ay may minamahal na lolo't lola, tatay o kaibigang may edad na. Ang sakit po makita na yung taong binigay ang lahat para sa atin ngayon ay mag-isa na po sa isang kwarto sa banyagang bansa. It will do more harm po kung maiwan siya na nasa ibang lugar at kung sa hindi inaasahan, paano na lang po kung may mangyayaring masama sa kanya doon. Kung isang dating Pangulo ng ating bansa ay maaaring tratuhin ng ganito, paano na lang po ang ordinaryong Pilipino. Nagpapasalamat po ako sa komite sa pagsasagawa ng hearing nito at sana makabalik na dito si Tatay Digong. Kung ano man ang kanyang pananagutan, alam ko po buong tapang niya itong harapin dito sa ating sariling bayan. We have our own judicial system. After all, it is for the Filipinos to judge if he has done his job effectively as President of this country. Pilipino po ang dapat humusga kay Tatay Digong. Kung nakakalakad ba ang ating mga anak sa gabi na hindi nasasaktan, hindi nababastos, at hindi nakikidnap. Siguraduhin natin na hindi maulit sa kahit sino man ang pag-iisang tabi ng legal na proseso. This issue is greater than any of us or any personality. What is at stake here is our sovereignty and judicial independence as a sovereign nation and the dignity of every Filipino. Ang importante dito, ano ba ang nalabag na batas at ang pinaka-importante, maibabalik pa ba si Tatay Digong? Please, bring him home. Salamat, Madam Chair.
Maraming salamat at laban lang. Alamin natin ang katotohanan. Bumalik tayo sa PCTC. Nabanggit po ninyo, Executive Director, na sangkatutak ang pinadalan mo ng kopya nitong diffusion order. nitong CPNP, PNP natin, NBI, DI, DOJ. Pinadala rin ba ninyo yung special envoy on transnational crime?
Hindi po siya nasama sa pinadalang
Si Ambassador Lacanilaw, hindi niya
wala po siyang
natanggap to. Ano ba ang papel ng special envoy sa transnational crime?
Ang
Very
spe-
familiar po kami sa PCTC kasi yung batas niya na kami ang nag-akda. Ang tanong mo lamang, ano ba ang papel ng special envoy?
Ang
Kasi
special
dati kayo
envoy po
din yung
natin,
special
the
envoy.
good ambassador is a representative of our country in several international fora, representing the interest of the Philippines. He has, to a certain extent, diplomatic stature and
Ambassador na ang titulo po ninyo.
Totoo po yun.
Ambassador ka rin nung special envoy kayo?
Nung araw po, nung araw.
General Alcantara.
Opo.
Ambassador rin po ang
Nung araw po ay ako'y ambassador din at concurrent in charge of PCTC.
Kasi ang pagkaintindi ko, hiwalay yung special
Magkahiwalay po,
envoy.
magkahiwalay.
Hindi siya directly under PCTC, tama po ba?
Ang special envoy po ay nakakatulong sa akin dahil nababawasan po yung trabaho ko to represent our country.
Para hindi ka biyahe ng biyahe.
Medyo totoo po yun, totoo yun.
Okay, so Ambassador, hindi kasi namin masyadong kabisado yung posisyon ninyo. Saan ang opisina?